Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pipedrive's third Tech Talk of the year. Today we have Eunice from Norders, one of our elite partners, who's going to walk you through how to build a winning brand. Norders is a creative agency, been in business for over 15 years. They are located in Finland, but support all across the globe. So we're excited to have Eunice today. And Eunice, take it away.
Thank you, Susan. Really excited and glad to be here. So we'll be talking about my favorite topic of them all today. We'll be talking about branding, and I'll go through my presentation. Looks like it's 24 slides strong, so a lot of my voice and talking to be gone through now. So leave your questions, I guess, Susan, in the chat during the presentation, and we'll go through the Q&A stage at the end. Cool. Let's kick it off. As Susan said, I'm from Norders Creative Agency. We're located. Our HQ is here in the Helsinki suburbs, in very, very dark and slushy Espoo, Finland, 20 minutes away from downtown Helsinki. We also have offices in central Finland, northern Norway for some random reason, and then in Dubai and Riyadh as well. So in a few places already, but HQ here in Espoo, Finland. We were born as a digital creative agency. Really started to see a trend in the market when I was working for larger marketing agencies, that new service businesses, startups, technology businesses, especially in the B2B field, needed to be supported in a more agile, faster way throughout their entire sales and marketing cycle, from creating marketing strategies to building their brand to activating lead generation across different digital touch points. And I didn't feel like very many of the traditional marketing agencies were doing a very good job being that agile and being that sales driven, as I think B2B technology and service business is really required. So I started my own, and here we are. We're also currently building our own creative operating system to really build a transparent and comprehensive way for B2B technology and service businesses to scale, operate, and ultimately grow for maximum impact their sales and marketing activities. So that's a bit about us. And as Susan said, I've been doing this sales and marketing thingy for over 15 years now. I'm originally from Eastern Finland and been living here in the central region now for almost 20 years, I think. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Norders, and I also still get to work, which I really enjoy, as a creative strategist. So I still build a lot of marketing strategies, go-to-market strategies for our customers. Definitely one of my favorite tasks to do. But half of the day, I have the CEO hat as well. We're now around 10 people strong as an agency, so pretty small, but keeping it agile still. But yeah, really excited about today's topic, not least because the one thing constant change is once again all around us. Digital marketing sphere is currently going through a big shift, and we need to adapt as always. But there's a lot of opportunities there. Customers are now certainly behaving in ways that we can support seamlessly across different channels and help them easier get value from our services and products. And building a brand to do that is the key. And why is that? On purpose, this is supposed to hurt your eyes. This slide is to manifest that marketing is going through a big shift, and having all these changes on the same slide by design hurting your eyes. But few key takeaways here. We'll be sharing the presentation so you can delve in to these different changes in the marketing trends. But few key things I want to point up here is that I think it was beginning of month that 43% threshold was achieved of people using internet using ad blockers. So when you go on a website, you most likely block cookies, right? That's the familiar new finger thing you do when you go on a new website and it asks if you want to accept the cookies. You decline. And on top of that, you most likely, almost 50% of you, I think in the tech industry, over 50% of people have ad blockers on their browsers, both on computers and mobiles. So what that does mean, we can't rely anymore on traditional digital advertising. 5 years ago, if you would have had this presentation, we would have been building a brand to support our sales funnel. So put up Google ads, put up LinkedIn ads like any good service business, and trust the process, right? So put up Google ads, put up LinkedIn ads, wait for the customers come in, have a lead magnet, call up, how you doing? Let's do some business. Okay, we're not getting any more clicks or views for those ads as we used to. As a result, platforms like LinkedIn and Meta are now needing to top their click pricing because they're not getting as many clicks anymore. So pricing is not as effective, but it's getting pricier constantly at the same time. So paid advertising has really become an expense instead of an investment these days. And at the same time, consumers, what they've really now gotten from being consumers is that they're now working with brands like Airbnb or Uber. So they're really used to seamless, beautiful, omni-channel experiences. And these same consumers are also B2B decision makers, right? I've heard the rumor that B2B decision makers are also human. So they're used to beautiful, omni-channel, seamless experiences. They expect that same thing from us and from you. So we can't have single channel anymore with single ad group, with a single landing page and expect huge resources. B2B decision makers use on average 10 different touch points when making a decision. They'll send you a WhatsApp, they send you an email, they talk with you on the phone, they go to your website, they check out your LinkedIn page, and the list goes on. So we need to have a brand that supports the customer cycle on their terms in the channels that they use. And maybe the biggest trend of them all, the last thing I want to point out from this list is that the conversation is now moving to the so-called dark social in warp speed. So dark social is DMs mostly. Dark social in larger context means social media that is not shared with anyone else. So DMs is a great example. So instead of me anymore typing on LinkedIn, does anyone know a good CRM partner or what's the best CRM for SMB? I ask the people I trust. There's so much noise now. We get bombarded with so many messages throughout the day that it has really taken us consumers sort of back to the old ages, and we go to the central square and ask the people we trust. So I ask other CEOs, I ask other business leaders, which CRM are they using, which marketing agency would they recommend, who did their website, who did their video, and I ask this in WhatsApp or LinkedIn emails or directly emailing them. I'm not typing it for everyone to see and for your sales team to see it on LinkedIn anymore. And that is a huge shift. And so how can we respond to that? We need to create brands that resonate long term. We need to create brands that work across different channels, and we need to create brands that differentiate ourselves and are rememberable and last through time. And that's what we'll be going through today. And for me and for Norders, when we build a marketing strategy and a branding strategy, it has 5 key stages that it is made of. And we'll go through all of these stages now. It starts with the brand strategy. Then we talk about brand identity. Then we talk about the required channels for the brand. Then we talk about content that is required to deliver the brand message, and what is the actual distribution method of delivering that message. So those 5 building blocks, and you can think of them as Legos. So you start with the strategy, build the identity on that, channels go on top of identity, and so on with these 5 different stages. The first one is strategy, as I mentioned, and this is the most important part, and this is also the least visual part. Some of you, I think most of you have probably already started with this stage. You for most certainly have had a offsite with the leadership team or different kind of a strategy session with your sales or marketing team, and you've been thinking about why does your company exist, what value do you provide for the world, and what is your brand story. And this is great, and this is something that you really need to focus on before moving towards to the next stages. If you haven't done this, I highly recommend that you schedule a 2-hour workshop with your key internal stakeholders to start with. This I recommend is started as an internal exercise before bringing in consultants or creative agencies to work with, and really just internally with your key internal people, go through why does your company exist, what do you bring to the world, and what is your brand story behind this reason for existence. And as I said, only a 2-hour workshop. There's no magic bullet here, no right or wrong answers. It all starts with working on a whiteboard is a great system for you guys to get this thing going. That's fine. If you like a shared Google Doc or want to work on a Miro board, whatever works for you. The most important thing is that you get the creative juices flowing here and start filling the blanks for these things. Once you have your sort of reason for existence, then you can start narrowing down what we call the big six below it. The detailed vision, what kind of future does your company envision, and niche, what clear target group you are going to serve and are serving, your ideal customer profile goes here. And this is becoming more and more important. And without the clear purpose, without the clear narrative behind it, this is hard to define. And the rule of thumb here really is that the clearer, more targeted you can go, the better. Obviously, it needs to be some sort of a match of there needs to be enough big of a market for it to make sense. But the clearer you can go, the easier the communication will be. For example, if you're doing creative agency services for everyone on the planet, no one is going to feel like it's for you. But if you do it for technology and service companies in the B2B sector, that's already a lot clearer. You can further define that we only work with SMB in the SMB field like we do. And then all of a sudden, if you're in that field, it means that you probably hear our message better, you notice us more, you're going to remember us better. And then also on the other hand, we filter out bad clients from us from the get-go. So we don't waste time on talking with clients who are not our ideal customers when we have our target group clearly defined. Another important thing that goes very importantly hand in hand with the niche part is your positioning. And this means how do you differentiate yourself from competitors? And for example, once again, an easy example for me to do is ourselves. We're not just a creative agency, we're also a creative operating system. So that helps us to stand out from all the other creative agencies on the planet. Operating system is something that service and technology business leaders understand. They know what it is. It stands out. It's understandable for them, but it's also something different from other creative agencies. So positioning, once again, you want to be clever, you want to be different, but you don't want to be stupid. Stupid is easy. If no one understands you, it's not good. So take time to figure this out. How are you different from the competitors? Is there a certain word or a certain industry that you can sort of lean towards to differentiate yourself? And once you have those figured out, you move down to what problems does your customer have? And this problems part is important here. It's not the problems you have or you want to solve for yourself, but list of all the problems that your customers have. And I mean all the problems. It's just not that they want to have a better brand. They're going to have a lot more problems. They don't have sufficient funds. They have too small of a team. They don't have time. They don't trust the process. They don't know how creative work is done. There's a lot of problems you need to solve, and that goes with any business in any industry. So list them all. Finally, what is your offer? What do you concretely give to the client to solve those problems? And what is the ROI you can promise? And the promise is a key word here, because we want things, easy, riskless. We don't want to waste any money or time on things we don't know are going to for sure bring value to us. So what sort of ROI you can promise? If it's numerical, it's usually a bit easier, especially in the B2B sector. If I can guarantee you, if you give me 1,000 euros, you get 2,000 back. That's a great promise. If it's too good to be true, it often is. Numericals are easy, but sometimes it needs to be a soft value as well. I can't emphasize enough the importance of the strategy part. Take time to go through it. As I said, start internally. Bring in your key stakeholders. If you've done this before, I highly recommend going through this at least on yearly basis. Beginning of the year, end of the year, always a good time to do this. Once you've done it internally, if you feel like creating a creative strategy is not your strong suit, you would need help with it. There's a lot of great consultants, creative agencies around to partner up with who can help you define these different angles. I think especially the brand narrative, how you talk about your brand, what is the actual copy that you use in different channels on your website, on your social media channels. What is the imaginary? What does your brand sound like, look like on a video? Those can really be supported by having an external partner that you work with. Okay, so now we have a strategy done. Here's a few examples at what level we have, for example, done it for ourselves. It's hard to see what exactly it says on the screen, but that's also, once again, by design. It is just to show that we don't even do one-pagers when we build the marketing strategy. This is the template we use for ourselves and for our customers. So we build it on the simplest tool of them all, Canva, and it's just one paragraph for each of the parts that I just showed. So here's the big six, and it's just paragraph long for each. So you really want to keep it agile. These are not set in stone. These are an evolution. There's going to be shifts in the market again. Something's going to happen next year that no one predicted. So these need to be able to be changed. You don't want them have business plan long, but something that can be quickly edited, can be now quickly done, and start moving forward, and then keep learning as you go on. So don't spend too much time on this. It's important, but don't get stuck. And once you have your strategy in place, then we move into the actual visual identity part of it. And it's important that you do have your visual identity, but here we really want to emphasize on that. Really don't get stuck on here. We see a lot of, usually founders get really stuck with the logo. And since you can't yell at me back right here, I can say it out loud, but no one cares about your logo. I'm really sorry. No one really does. Unless you're Google or Disney, no one really cares about your logo. Have a logo that you're proud of, that is not identical with the competition. If you work in the financial industry, for example, and you want to make clear that you're more of a modern option in that field, don't be blue, right? So look at the industry from the strategy phase. How does the competition look like? Differentiate yourself. Have your colors, typography, fonts, and those visual elements be of you, something that you can be proud of, but don't get stuck with them. Logo is also something that needs to change over time. New channels will merge, so you need to have something that works across different touch points here as well. Icons are a good thing to have to ease down the customer journey in different channels, like on your website, so you can have small visual icons to clarify the services between each other. Use these same icons on social media channels or sales decks. And once again, nothing fancy is required. It's just really to differentiate yourself, and at icon level, differentiate your services one from each other. One thing I would spend a bit more time on, especially given that we all work in the B2B service sector, is your slide decks, so presentation decks, that they are easily editable, easily changeable between customers and different stakeholders. So have a clear, beautiful slide deck that is done with your brand identity, and then can be easily changed depending on the need. If you're in the Microsoft 365 environment. PowerPoint is a great tool to go with if you're all Mac users. Keynote, or we build our own decks with Canva these days. Such an easy, simple tool. So the tool doesn't really matter here. Just have something that is done in love with the detail. So you'll have a slide deck that is all about your brand, looks like you, and is different from all the other decks, right? Decks out there. It's also a good idea to finally tie your different materials into a brand book. And here's an example of how ours look. So brand book is then, it's simple, usually a 10-page PDF document that explains how your logo is to be used, what fonts you're using, what colors you're using, and have those color codes there. So this makes it easy if you work with freelancers, or if someone comes into your marketing team, or if you work with an agency, you have a simple brand book that works as a guiding light with all the partners that you work with, also with those internal people. So that's a good final note on the brand identity. I wanted to sort of go through the brand identity part quickly. If you're looking for logo ideas on this presentation, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I want to repeat that. How does your logo look? How does your visual identity look? It's not as important today anymore, because decision makers are talking on that dark social, on the DMs. We view and experience brands on the channels and in the moments we decide. Your brand doesn't really matter on a WhatsApp message, right? And brand is so much more than just the visual identity. It's the story, it's the experience, and the meaning behind the brand that your customers mostly care about. One thing about the brand that is a good idea to put an extra emphasis on is your people and how you bring them across your marketing and branding materials. You all have people behind your services, right? So really bring them up. Unless you're trying to be the cheapest and fastest, then it usually matters that you build trust with your potential and existing customers. And as people, we trust people. So you really want to bring your people to front. If you only have illustrations and icons and stock images, it's very hard to differentiate from the competition and build that trust. So bring your people to the front, take good people photos, good personal photos, and use those on your website and on your social media channels. Pretty much on every, we'll get back to this later, but pretty much on every social media plan that we do with our customers, there's at least one social media post a week about the company people. Professional photographers are everywhere and fairly cheap these days, so I recommend using a professional photographer that take unique photos of your personnel at your office space or at a different chosen location. But these bad boys are also pretty amazing these days. So if you don't have time or currently other resources for taking professional photos, then just use your smart camera and get started with. And that's when it comes to visual identity, that's what I recommend spending most time on, how your people are visually presented. The next level from there is how your partners and customer are presented. So making customer story videos, customer story photos, bring your customers to be the hero in your brand story. Then that's the next great stage. But building the brand elements, I would start with your own people. Let's see if we have time in the end to look at our show reel, which is linked here. If not, you'll have to link to it. So on top of having good photos of your team and people, having a video that clearly, simply communicates what services you offer to which target group. Basically, those big six from the strategy part. What do we offer to whom and with what kind of value, in a simple video format with simple text graphics to communicate the idea through. Video still has that power that our eyes catch up on any movement. It's one of those fight or flight modes embedded to us. So every time we see a video on social media, it still catches our attention. Then the hard part is keeping that attention, converting that attention. But at least you can easily get started with having your team photos, having your service pictures, and then simple text graphics on the video to create, once again, differentiating brand material to showcase across different channels. Okay, so now we have a strategy and we have a brand identity. We have some cool team photos. We might even have a quick brand video that we did. And then we move into channels. Which are the channels you need to use to communicate your brand message and brand value? We're personally a Wix website partner, so that's why it's up there. But any website platform really works. But I still recommend having a website. It's an owned platform. Once again, we've all seen now a great example on what relying on a certain platform can cost. So if a lot of your marketing efforts were based on Twitter marketing, you might be scratching your head a moment. So the safest bet today in the digital spectrum is having your website, because that's where you have the best control over. You can always move it to a different server, to a different country, to a different platform like WordPress or Wix or Squarespace. There's a lot of good platforms out there, but have your own website because you have full control over that. And then also that full control means that you have total design freedom when it comes to your website. So the easiest way to communicate your brand message in its full glory is through a website, because there you can choose how you use space, how you use fonts, how you use font sizing, how you use those pictures, how you really tell your brand story. It's going to be really active and dynamic, or it's going to be more minimalistic and calm. The website is the easiest way to tell that story with pictures and colors and text, and have that full brand experience be in place. So spend time on thinking through your website. Once again, look back at the strategy phase. How does your competition look? What kind of a brand you are? Are you dynamic, agile, startup-y, or are you trustworthy, conservative? And your website can really easily tell that story. Once you have your website, the external channels are important as well to bring the traffic to the website. LinkedIn, Twitter, still Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, sort of the traditional punch here. We see now a lot of potential in YouTube, especially in technology and service B2B field. Brands and companies are moving to YouTube slowly, but there's still a lot of blue ocean victories to be taken there. So I urge you to at least check out. If you're not an avid YouTube watcher, check it out. Search some of your own keywords, your services, and what you offer on YouTube, and see what kind of content there already is. And maybe you have a person on your team who could be a good face for your services and products and brand on YouTube as well. LinkedIn is now the hottest social media channel when it comes to B2B, which means everyone is there. I still recommend everyone being there. There's still a lot of growth opportunities on that channel, but a good sort of basic advice with social media channels is be where everyone else is. So be on LinkedIn for sure, but then also be on a different channel that you see as potential for growth. It also could be TikTok. It also could be Snapchat, or it could be YouTube. So one experimental channel and one main channel is what we usually recommend. We don't really see that the traditional sales funnel being valid anymore, where you post stuff on social media channels. As I said earlier, you would post stuff on social media channels, do a Google ad, and then see people coming to your website, and there would be a lead magnet or a contact form, and they would go through that. As I said, we want to consume content and make decisions based on our own interest and on our own terms. So that also means that we need to be active with our outreach and provide our ideal customers the opportunity to find us in these channels that they already are, including LinkedIn, InMail, and email. those are really, really efficient ways to do automated outreach these days, to email campaigns and LinkedIn campaigns. You can be really, really sort of, um, how do I say, you can be really cool about it. You don't have to be too pushy and salesy, but you can actually provide a lot of value in scale with these outreach tactics. And that's something we see a lot of really, really great ROI with our partners in the B2B sector these days. And part of building that trust is having great partners, like what Pipedrive is doing here. Having that you partner network of your own is really, really important. So who are those partners, technology partners that like Pipedrive that you can bring to the front of your brand? Maybe you have a new company, so saying that you're a Pipedrive partner builds that trust. If you're using other technologies, having that technology wall out there on your site, that these are the technologies we trust, we're experts on these technologies, building trust that way, and maybe even get that visibility, use them as channels to create brand awareness further down the road. And nothing fancy is required here with the channels. Again, here's our own simple website and our own simple LinkedIn page. What matters is, as I said, you want them to be authentic to you. You want them to look like you, and you want them to be clear when it comes to telling your brand story and brand value that you bring to your ideal customer, your unique customer. And one point that I really want to bring out here is also the power of landing pages still. So not only having a single pager as a website, but having different landing pages, different sub pages for different services that you offer. And here's an example of our Pipedrive landing page. And here I think you can already see then there's a clear CTA on a landing page, a big orange button in the middle. If you want to take further action, you can, but you can always also then scroll down, read more, consume content on your own terms. As I said, we have two kind of people usually scrolling your websites. There's people like me who want to take action immediately. I don't like reading anything. I want to talk to a salesperson and ask my stupid questions. And then there's those people who like to read for weeks and weeks and months before they make any sort of decision to move further to the next stage. So you need to give those both options. We have the Pipedrive Lead Booster chat on our site at the bottom. That is a really great lead magnet for us. And then a clear menu at the top of the site. So it's really easy to navigate, once again, based on the visitors' terms, how they like to consume your content and find the information they want. Strategy done. We have the brand identity done. Now we even have channels where we're gonna start building our content with. And this is one of the more exciting parts of the brand building parts that we're now discussing, building content. This is a constant struggle we see with B2B companies. We don't have enough time to build content, or even we don't have enough to say to build any kind of content. And I bet this sounds familiar also with you. So that's not true. And here is the magic formula for scalable content. You're welcome. So it's called a content pyramid framework. And it works in a way that you have one piece of pillar content that is then magically divided into sub-contents and micro-contents. And the way it works is that you do this pillar content piece that is a written piece of content, usually a good figure to start with around 7,500 words, so around 10 pages. And think of it as the ultimate guide for your value proposition. So 7,500 words, or let's call it 10,000 words. 10,000 words, around 15 pages. 10,000 words explaining how you solve your customer problems and with what kind of services and what kind of guarantees. So once again, sort of the strategy phase implemented into 10,000 words. And what you get with this, you get this ultimate guide or white paper or ebook. You might have seen this online. Google now loves ultimate guides because when someone Googles a topic and so Google says, okay, there's an ultimate guide that's 10,000 words about this topic, we're going to show that as a search result, right? So that will be your ultimate guide to tell your customers that you know everything about this topic. The ultimate guide is writing a book about your services, but that might be too tough an ask at this stage. But what you can do easily within a month, even in 2 weeks, is write 10,000 words about how you solve your customer problems, with what kind of services, and with what kind of end solution. There's really simple frameworks for writing this kind of pillar content as well. I'll be happy to share about this. This is a really magical piece of branding that we see a lot of value these days. And once you have that ultimate guide, that pillar content piece, then that 7,500 words, for example, we divide that into 15 blogs of 500 words each. So after writing that 2-week or 4-month period of that pillar content piece, you have your entire blog schedule from the entire year. You have a blog per month for the entire year to publish on your website and then to publish on your social media channels. That's amazing, right? Because once again, the struggle is, the sales director was supposed to write that blog, or the marketing team was supposed to write that blog that month. But with the pillar content, you then just simply divide that same content into blogs throughout the year. And one note about the pillar content, once again, came to my mind was that I don't recommend having an email wall in front of the pillar content anymore. We don't like giving our emails anymore. Internet is full of really amazing free content. I trust you write a great piece of pillar content, but it's probably not going to be that great that it deserves an email for. Give it for free, even without giving an email to your clients, your prospects. If they're interested in your products and services, they will contact you. So let them, once again, consume that content on their own terms, and they will contact you if they're interested. They don't need to give their email for it. Okay, so we have the pillar content. We divided that into sub-content pieces, which typically are blogs. If you want to go crazy, you can even record those as podcasts. So you'll then have 12 podcasts for your entire year. I bet a lot of your competitors don't have their own podcasts. With the one simple pillar content piece that you wrote, you can have an entire year of podcast season 1 for yourself. Podcast microphones are like $50 these days, so it's pretty easy to do. And then those sub-contents are then divided into micro content that works as your social media post. So once again, you don't need to think every week anymore, okay, what I'm going to write a social media post about. But in your pillar content, you go through your biggest cases, most important cases, your key team members that will provide those services. So you have those people posts, those service posts ready for the entire year. Really magical stuff, this pillar content framework. I highly recommend taking advantage of it, and I'll be happy to share a lot more stuff about it. And just as a reminder here at the bottom of the screen is still that traditional working. We need to earn attention, create awareness, and state the problem that I have. We need to get that awareness somehow. Video works great with that. And then the, hey, marketing agency CEO, that speaks to me. I'm interested. That's my kind of content. And what is my problem? How do I earn trust? And what is the solution that you offer? So think of those 4 pillars when writing your pillar content. And here's our example. We wrote a 10,000 word ultimate guide for sales and marketing growth, and then that is being divided constantly into these YouTube videos, podcasts, blogs. So we did writing the pillar content piece during the summer, and now it's easy to execute our own marketing strategy and distribute it across all these channels. And it looks like we're doing all this content in all of these different channels, but in reality, we just did this one pillar content piece during the summer, and now it's super easy to have it across different social medias. Okay, strategy done, identity done, channels done. Now we even have really, really magical, scalable content, and now we just need to finally distribute it. As I said, pillar content breaks down into sub-content pieces, usually as blogs, podcasts. I dare you to take that next step and really differentiate you from your competition. And then finally into micro-content pieces that work as posts on your social media channels. And they all will walk through your ideal customer, through your customer journey. But the key here is to understand there's no linear, vacuumed customer journey anymore. I might find your social media post on LinkedIn. It might take me a few months that I tumble upon your podcast on Apple Podcasts, and that sparks my interest enough. Like, oh, I remember this, and now I'm listening to this podcast, and then I go to your website and I read about your ultimate guide, and end up on your landing page, thinking, okay, this looks like a cool punch. I can trust these guys, and I pick up my phone and give you a call. So create that content, distribute it evenly. Don't expect your customer to take a linear path from Google ad to landing page to contact form. We don't work like that anymore. So you need to have a strong brand across all the channels. Do the study, which is the relevant channel for you. Where does your customer spend time? We've been only talking about digital channels here, but we're currently working, for example, with a very, very interesting uh, property management company here in the Nordics, that they're like their decision makers are only on golf courses. So how do you reach that? So then you once again need to think about a brand strategy. How are we going to reach decision makers at golf courses? Pointless to do Google ads or LinkedIn posts or expensive LinkedIn ads. Those decision makers who own property portfolios, they're not scrolling LinkedIn feeds. So we need to be where they are and deliver a brand message there. Here's a few examples how our Google ad and Google results show, how our LinkedIn posts show, how our own contact page on our website on the right bottom corner. And we just got to do a webinar a bit before this at the University of Eastern Finland, be part of their entrepreneurial society program. So utilize those partners, be seen in different channels, create that trust, have that sort of content cluster created outside of your pillar content that can be seen and consumed really anywhere. And a really cool case we just did with Pipedrive to sort of demonstrate the magic of building a brand with these five building blocks is for a Finnish headhunting company called Executive Hunt. As the name implies, they only do C-level headhunting in Finland and Sweden. And we built them a simple landing page, did very, very basic SEO. So looked at the keywords that HR directors or CFOs usually type in Google if they need to hire a new C-level person. Did a very simple Google ad, an evergreen, so to say, so you don't need to change the Google ad or iterate it constantly, but a simple Google ad that works through different seasons. Put in the Lead Booster, Pipedrive Lead Booster app to easily schedule a demo on the site, and did a presentation deck. So once they're contacted, they can very easily, their salespeople, jump on a call, do a demo, how they do C-level headhunting differently from their competition. There are now 13 professional users, professional license users, and growing. Their business is booming. I would like to take some thanks to that to our team. And it's been over a 10K project for us already by now. Our usual sort of strategy and branding cases are around 5 to 6K in euros, and this Pipedrive case has already been over 10Ks for us. And what we really only did for them how we landed them was we had this Pipedrive landing page, so it was easy to contact us, and we got over a 300% ROI from the first deal alone, this 10K deal that we did. And now it's an evergreen case for us as well. So we have all this set up for ourselves and for the customer now as well. So the next case is over 1,000% ROI because it's been already built once, it's been proven, and now it's sitting there, creating value, creating leads, and creating positive ROI. So build once, sell forever is a good tactic when it comes to building your brand to provide value digitally. The best time to start yesterday. The second best time to start now. So number one, do it yourself. Bring in your key stakeholders and do the workshop strategy workshop. Think about why you exist, how you're different from the market, what value do you really provide to your clients, who's your ideal customer, how do you differentiate from the competition. And the new Pipedrive brand assets are really, really easy to get started with. So you can already start looking and feeling and sounding like a better Pipedrive partner than the competition very quickly in your market. And a reminder that Pipedrive has a very, very great MDF program with up to 50% MDF backing up for your different lead generation activities. So be sure to remember to contact Susan regarding those. I'll send you also this presentation, or Susan, I think, will share it. And there's supposed to be a Calendly link there, but in the presentation there will be, so you can book a call with me if you want to talk branding or marketing or life further on. I'll be happy to share my thoughts and brainstorm with you and your team. So get my contact information there, and you can read more about us at norders.agency. But that's it from my side. Thank you so much for participating on this, and I hope I made it clear how powerful this stuff can be and how exciting of a time it is now with all these changes in the digital spectrum to really start taking advantage of building your brand in different channels.
Thanks, Eunice. We do have a couple of questions already from Sean. Hi, Eunice. Do you have any advice for approaching exhibiting at expos with a small stand? Should the focus be on branding or messaging on a specific pain point? Great presentation. Thanks, Tony.
Good question. Events going back really strong again, right? A lot of focus on them right now. 2 years of not having them, and now they're all at the same time. A simple answer for events is that you want to reach your target group in advance. 2 reasons: because you can, first of all, so you don't want to waste time at the event talking to wrong people. Who, if you have a really cool stand, you're going to attract a lot of people. If you have a small stand, as you said, you're going to have random people walking by. You don't want to spend time with wrong people. So figure out who's going to be at the event. It's usually geographically a certain type of people, or then it's a certain industry or decision maker level. So you can already do a so-called air campaign, for example, for them on LinkedIn. LinkedIn also has a really great tool that you can see who's attending different events, and you can contact them directly through LinkedIn. You might have gotten a few of those emails. Hey, I see we're both attending this event. Would you like to have a call or a quick meeting at the event? So I would do an paid air campaign. So target with a paid advertising campaign on LinkedIn or Google Display Network people who are most likely attending the event and are your ideal target group. Or then directly contact people who you can see, for example, on LinkedIn that are going to event, and organize those meetings and invite them to your booth already in advance. So that's what I would do, and that's what we recommend doing with events. The second reason is that because they are going to be invited to a lot of different meetings during the event, and there's going to be a lot of noise during the event. So having the ideal target customer, the ideal prospect randomly coming to your booth is unlikely.
And I've also found too that if you do contact folks before the event and you have a meeting room set up, or even your own hotel room, you could use that as a meet and greet beforehand or afterwards. So Eunice is dead on about getting in touch up front and having them aware that you're going to be at the event.
Yep.
Now the question: how many people are involved in the content strategy, brainstorming, creation, etc., and how long does it take for you to decide to create these 10 to 15K words content? That's from Tomas.
As little as two people, really. So you want to have a content writer. I sort of hate saying it's partly true, though, that writing is not as easy as it sounds. You might think it's easy because written format is everywhere. I still urge you to get going and not waste a year looking for the perfect content writer. Your founders, your key employees are the best people to understand what value you provide for the world. So I would urge you to get started, and it could be as little as the sort of service owner, product owner who understands what we're delivering and what we're doing for the market the best, and then the content writer. So that's usually the minimum two. If it's hard to find those two, get started with one who understands the topic best and what value we have for the market. But minimum two, if possible, involve sales and marketing as well. Marketing will then have a better understanding on the tone of voice, what sort of keywords we want to emphasize, and sales will understand sort of the customer pain points, because you really want to focus on those at the content writing piece. But as little as two, I think our ideal content workshop is usually 3 to 5 people. So sort of the service product owner, sales and marketing, content writer, and a creative strategist. Those 4 is a typical goal group.
Any other questions? I'd really like you to show everyone your video, Eunice.
Yes.
We'll end the session with that, because I think it's really cool, and I think everyone will appreciate how talented you guys are. So if there's no more questions, we will feel free to contact Eunice with any additional questions. I put his contact information there. You could also reach out to me personally to get in touch with Eunice. And thank you. So take it away, Eunice.
Thanks. And I'll quickly show again our own Pipedrive landing page that I mentioned, now creating that 1,000% ROI for us. So nothing fancy. Use the Pipedrive brand elements, the new elements. We have the Elite Partner badge there. Why use Norders with Pipedrive? Our success cases. And you can directly book a call with our Pipedrive specialist, Sonia, from here. Nothing fancy, responsive with different tools, and easy to navigate. And here's our show reel. I was hoping actually we were getting our 2023 show reel done at this moment. It's a bit easier for us to do a show reel because we're a creative agency, so we have a lot of video and photography of our own to do these show reels. But it can also be easily done there's really good stock videos these days. So finding stock videos that represent your brand, look a bit different, and then using graphics, using color plates on your show reel to walk through what customer problem you're solving, with what kind of services, and why you should be trusted and how you can be contacted. So here's our recent show reel. One last minute to watch this. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eunice. Again, please feel free to reach out to Eunice for any creative help and content strategy session or a workshop. You'd be more than happy to meet with you guys. And thank you for attending, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.